Oh my God, guys, it's about to start. So what's God? I don't even know what camera to look at this time. But what's going on, guys? We're about to get into a discussion about the mythic Snyder Cut. So we're not going to be discussing the whole Superman Henry Cavill debacle. We might touch on a little bit, but we're here to talk about Zack Snyder's cut, aka the Snyder Cut of Justice League. So just a quick summary here. So, and this is from Cinema Blend, by the way. But so following the release of Justice League, people began to hear whispers on the wind of Zack Snyder's approved cut of the film. That is, the movie as it was originally envisioned by Snyder before he had to step down as director due to his daughter's death. May she rest in peace. Joss Whedon took over from there, and the movie was changed in a few key ways. Since then, DC fans have been asking for Warner Brothers to release the Snyder Cut, which is a vast understatement. But there's an online debate over whether this cut even exists. Another thing as well, in May of 2017, Snyder stepped down from directorial duties during post-production of the film due to properly deal with the death of his daughter, Autumn Snyder. Joss Whedon, whom Snyder had previously brought on to rewrite some additional scenes, took over to handle post-production duties in Snyder's place. The source of that is from The Hollywood Reporter. So, now, well, I guess I should bring on, hold on a second, my good buddy, goddamn brother, Sam JVS. What's going on, man?
What's going on, bro? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We're about to go down the motherfucking rabbit hole, people. Oh my god. I don't know if y'all is ready for this. And unfortunately, maybe a lot of what's coming from you might have to be audio, because I'm gonna have to do some switcherooing, showing things. But anyway, so the Snyder Cut. Myth or reality? Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm one of those people where DCEU, boy, well, let me put it to you this way. Man of Steel, loved it. Gave it a 9 out of 10. BVS, the theatrical, Ultimate Edition, I ain't here for it, okay? I don't like that shit. Terrible. Pisses me off to no end. Wonder Woman, great film. Suicide Squad, maybe want to kill myself. Justice League, maybe want to kill myself, but passable. I stamped it with good, basically. So then, all of a sudden, after the film comes out, Justice League, all of a sudden people are talking about this Snyder Cut of Justice League. Somehow there's some kind of rough draft of Justice League that's like the sacred version that was never shown the light of day. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, there was even like a petition that had like 170,000 signatures. It still exists. People demanding WB deliver us this sacred Snyder Cut. So, Sam, for the longest time, I said that the Snyder Cut, it don't fucking exist, so why are people freaking out about this fucking thing, right? But it appears that the Snyder Cut does exist. Does it exist? Let's start there. Does the Snyder Cut exist? Is this a real thing?
So let's do a quick history fact check. Around July 2015.
Before he goes Super Saiyan real quick, it's worth noting that this video is me interviewing him, okay? I don't particularly care about Snyder Cut, but this man is a black John Schnepp, okay? This man has been doing some investigative journalism into the Snyder Cut, so that is why he's here. Well, also because he's a best friend. But anyways, so is the Snyder Cut real?
Okay, before I even go and kind of break down my understanding of this assembly cut, because a lot of people think the misconception is that there is a completed version of what Zack Snyder intended to be his trilogy or a closeout, which is the Justice League film that he intended to direct. But before I even go into all that, I want to kind of backtrack and let's go back to July 2015 when they basically announced, you know, that they were going to be working on Wonder Woman and they would be working on Justice League. Justice League started April 2016, in this actual production. It closed out the regular principal photography production on October 2016. So that gave them a window of October until literally November of the next year, so they can make sure the VFX were down, make sure that they had any other extra shoots they needed to do. If they needed to do some extra things, they could be able to really do it. So the reality that happened was, because, in my personal opinion, Warner Brothers wanted to do some damage control. I want to say it was around, maybe like March or maybe June of 2016 when they realized like how badly the reception was for Batman vs Superman. Regardless of the fact, I actually really did like, Batman vs Superman in different regards, and I actually rated it pretty high. Justice League, I did not, but I'll get into why I'm going to be talking about that. The reality is with Justice League is they wanted to do this damage control, and so they were like, well, no, like, this is a little too tailored dark, so we want to make sure we bring in Jeff Johns in. We want to make sure that we keep it continuity so that it's not going to be bridged off the two different movies. So we find out back then that Batman vs Superman was supposed to be split into two parts, which makes sense because Batman vs Superman had all this crap in it and ended up being, like, in my personal opinion, the crucible, so to speak. Like, it was like the sacrificial lamb so that you platform all these other movies with, which that's not smart because it makes you look desperate. It makes you look like you're trying to race after something that you haven't gotten your ground and your bearings yet. That's evident. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is with Justice League is that Justice League is supposed to be two different movies. A lot of people don't know that. And so once they got done with Justice League and Wonder Woman, then it was like, we're going to kick off doing Justice League Part 2. The reality is that from the damage control, they had to then, all right, there's not going to be a Justice League Part 2 anymore. There's just going to be one Justice League. Zack Snyder's still on during this time. And then, like you were speaking about, the tragedy happened around, I believe it was May 22nd, 2017, and he lost his daughter. But the fact is that it was until July that he actually really, was it July? It was months before he really actually stepped away. His daughter had been committed suicide, but he spent months still working on the project until he just couldn't take it anymore. It was just too much for him. And during that time, he had said, look, the movie is already finished. The only thing that needs to be done is just the previs, the VFX, and any other extra reshoots, and that's it. What Warner Brothers did, unbeknownst to us, is that they said that they were bringing in Joss Whedon to finish what Zack Snyder was doing, but really they wanted to redo the entire film. They brought in a brand new composer. So Junkie XL, first off, he did, I want to say about 35 to 40% of the soundtrack. That got completely removed out. They brought in Danny Elfman because there was like the nostalgia factor with it because he had did, of course, Spider-Man. Of course, he did the original Batman. And then they were able to also borrow certain things from John Williams' score and merge this into this cluster of a soundtrack that I think is the weakest out of all the DC EU films. But I thought Warner Brothers thought that would be a good idea. They kept Jeff Johns in more of a producer role, Peter Berg in a more conducive role on the side, and then they had Joss Whedon fueling this and like, okay, well, Josh, I know we said that we were going to have you go and just finish this, but we need you to reshoot everything. And so when you look at a lot of the different shots of Ben Affleck, of Jason Momoa, of everybody, you can tell from the original trailers. The original trailers show certain scenes and sequences, and then you compare them to the actual finished product. The characters look a little bit more bubbly. They look a little more hopeful. They look a little more happy. Like, it looked a little bit more, like, less serious just because they wanted to change the shift of all the different scenes. So they reshot the whole entire film. The confliction part of this, where Henry Cavill gets into, and we'll get into this a little later. I'm trying to run through this as fast as I can before I get into the diplomatic side of this, is that when they actually had all the principal photography done, Henry Cavill actually made 2 other films before he even got to Mission Impossible. And so when he got to Mission Impossible, he was like, I've already done all the reshoots I'm supposed to do. I've already done all the things that we need to do, condense this into one movie. But they were like, well, we need you to come back in 2017 while you're working on your film and come back and reshoot. And it just was not favorable to him as an actor, and it didn't work. And unfortunately, Paramount said, screw you, he can't shave his beard. He can't shave it. And so then you get this terrible-looking face Superman. And Henry Cavill had to have this distorted look because the previs and the VFX, they only had a time increment of 3 months to get it sharpened enough to put it out to the masses. And really, instead of just kind of waiting until next year, they were like, we need to get this money out. Another part of that on the corporate level is that Warner Brothers, they were also, Walter Amada hadn't got put on yet, but the CEO at the time, he was trying to make sure that Warner Brothers got their bonuses. And so if Justice League, a big movie like Justice League, didn't get put out, the bonuses wouldn't go and inflate to everybody. And so they pushed Justice League out without any kind of regard to, was the story ready that it needed to be? Did it need to be redone in a different way? Was the VFX ready? They didn't take all those things into account. They were like, we need to get this out immediately, regardless of the fact, and we'll review it later if we need to. And so based on that account, you got this movie that's just all fluffy and weird and strange, but then you still go back to, like I said, these original trailers. And these original trailers show certain key specific things that don't add up to things that were in the movie. And so that's where now the public perception is, wait, what is all these different things? And when Zack left in May 22nd, 2017, he went off Twitter, he went off everything. It made it look like Zack Snyder actually got fired. It wasn't that, you know, he left because of his own means. It was that, no, he did such a bad job, we had to get Joss Whedon to put him back in. And unfortunately, there's a lot of technical people that were kind of undermining Zack and saying, well, good riddance, like, I'm glad this happened, without any kind of regard to his feelings or emotion or the fact that he lost his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I was really pissed about that. But the reality is that he wasn't fired. He's still actually a producer right now. But he took himself away from the social spectrum, and he decided to go to another social media platform called Vero. On Vero, those people that were looking at all these different clips that weren't in the movie, and they were like, wait, this makes up a big bulk of the different parts of the film. And, you know, those people that looked at the David Ayer version of, you know, Suicide Squad, they were like, wait, you know, the Joker had more scenes that weren't there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's evident by the actor, it's evident by the trailer. Even the first trailer of Suicide Squad looked completely different. It almost looked like a rated R version of the film, but it got switched and distorted, and the VFX in the end was just terrible. It was a terrible third act. And like people were like, you know, kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of weird. But now you got this Justice League, the biggest of the biggest film. And it was like, Zack Snyder decided, I'm going to start posting out certain things. And Ray Fisher, Jason Momoa, other people started advocating there is another cut to this film. Mm-hmm. And eventually Zack Snyder did open up and said that there's something in regards to an assembly cut, absolutely, of this film. There's been eyewitness accounts of different people like Jay Olivia, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher, Henry Cavill was alluded to it, of course Zack Snyder, and other people that have actually seen an assembly cut of the Justice League. Now, what assembly cut is, if you don't want to understand the definition of that, that is something that is in a complete film that might not have all the VFX completely finished. Right. Now, whether or not the viability of there is there for WB to put that money there, regardless. Like, I've gone to see screenings before where it is an assembly cut. That assembly cut is not completely done as far as VFX, but the movie itself is completely done.
Sure.
What actually was the thing that connected all of this, Vero, Zack's leaving, the trailers, what's happened in the past, these extended cuts, is my man Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith and Mark made this random production on set, and he did his podcast or whatever on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And there was somebody in the cast that was a critic. It was a lady. and she had spoken to him that she had actually gone and saw an early screening of the Justice League. And she said that, and I quote, when I went and I saw the Justice League film versus what I actually saw, it was night and day tonally. It was a difference in continuity. And there were characters that were not in the film that ended up in the finished product for whatever reason. And she didn't go into specifics about it because I've talked to other people that have claimed they have seen this other assembly cut as well. I don't want to name their names, but each one of these different people have actually signed an NDA that they can't actually say anything about it, which makes this whole atmosphere so troubled because you're like, wait, so the evidence is there. Yeah. There are people that are saying it's there, but you can't definitely specifically say it is because it's not technically an official film. It's only an assembly cut. But the reality of it actually being a real thing is evident. It's nothing but facts behind it. But I'll let you go. I'll stop because I'm going too deep.
Yeah, that was a lot of information. One thing I should have said at the beginning is, well, clearly he's like, like to say he's knowledgeable about this is an understatement. But I am not very knowledgeable, so as you can see from my facial expressions, I am literally being taught here, being schooled actually. So you were saying that it's a fact that it's a real thing. So I went on this long tirade for a while. I was like, the fucking thing doesn't exist. People are wasting their time, you know. But and me and Sam we've spoken about this once a little bit previously, but god damn it, I think the sumbitch is right. I think Sam's right. Okay, I think he's fuck it. I think I was wrong. Okay, if I said publicly that the cut doesn't exist, fuck it, I was wrong. I'm gonna tell you, I was wrong. I was wrong. Okay. By the way, if you see me looking over here, unbeknownst to you, there's a 4K camera recording right there, but. It's not me being schizo, though I arguably could be. But anyway, but yeah, I'm wrong. I think the Snyder Cut is real. I'm just going to name a couple things. Well, A, there's everything this fool just said. One. B, so I sent you something, I tagged you on something on Twitter. Is it possible for you to bring that up, possibly? Essentially what I tagged Sam in was, so there was a storyboard artist, right?
Oh, okay.
That worked on the film.
Yeah.
And somebody was talking about Aquaman on Twitter, and she responded and like verified that the Snyder Cut is indeed real, right? Because she said something like, well, if you don't think that the Snyder Cut is real, then what the hell do you think Snyder screened to people before he exited and Joss Whedon came in for post-production? And I was like, oh, fuck. That's a really good point. Another thing that I deeply missed is, let me pull it up real quick. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, confirming that the fucking cut is real, ladies and gentlemen. The Hollywood Reporter, which just put out there, like Variety, Hollywood Reporter, these are what I would call credible as fuck sources, okay? This is a verbatim quote from Hollywood Reporter. I can't remember the dates, a while ago. But they said verbatim, Snyder, after screening a rough cut of Justice League for fellow filmmakers and friends, wanted to add additional scenes, so he brought Joss Whedon on board to write them. But as he prepared to shoot the scenes in England, Snyder realized it was not the time to leave home. I think that was due to the daughter's death, I believe. But... yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we keep going, but yeah, I think it's safe to say that the fucking Snyder Cut is actually real. It's kind of insane, this sort of rough cut of the film. Now, here's the real meat of it all. How much is actually done and just a rough cut? And B, most importantly, why we're all here, will it ever see the light of day? Will the public finally get this thing that they've been shouting about, you know? If you Google the Snyder Cut or release the Snyder Cut, the search results are fucking insane. You know, people are really going in demanding this original cut of the film because they you know, to them, they think this is the superior version. And it's like, we never got it. We got this shitty version. It's like the studio, it's like keeping this glorious rough cut, not only in the vaults, but they don't even want it to be finished. They don't want nobody to see it. And for the record, I'm about to, in a few moments, I'm going to bring up some images from, apparently, images showcasing what the Snyder Cut should have looked like. Or does look like. So, before I go any further, Sam, can we get into legal trouble for bringing... Can I get into legal trouble for bringing up these images, this footage? Like, can we get a copyright strike in this bitch?
So I'm gonna be very frank with you. I think that any kind of photography, imagery, conceptual art, I think you'll be fine. But this goes into a whole nother piece of factual information that Warner Brothers is trying to remove. Okay?
Wait, what?
So, yes. So, this is the reality.
Warner Brothers is trying to remove footage?
It already has removed footage. But this is the reality, okay? So, every corporation that is working in the VFX industry, they have outsourced contracts for people to go and do VFX work. And so, those corporations, they have their own demo reels. Those demo reels show and showcase the talent and what they've worked on and what shows they've worked on. And I'll give you a prime example. There was one that had Lost in Space. It had the movie Alpha. And for some reason, it had a scene in Justice League, right? And so on Twitter one day, somebody was just looking through this VFX. And they happened to see Ray Fisher in a football outfit and what looked to be a dope football scene in the snow that had a VFX green screen backdrop that was fully made and fully done with added people in the stands. On top of Ray Fisher, it also had Ray Fisher's, what looked to be Ray Fisher's mother, Mrs. Stone, in the actual shot. And so I'll just take that as an example. When people saw on Twitter, they were like, wait, this was something that I saw in the original trailer. Like, I saw Victor Stone in the football attire. I saw him, you know, going and running for a touchdown. Now I'm actually seeing this. And as soon as people started talking about it, this VFX Corporation demo gets removed and has slapped with an NDA-rated thing like, this has been removed per Warner Brothers. This has happened countless times over and over again. When Jor-Els was talking a long time ago and he was saying that this doesn't exist, there was something that I shared with him that I kind of regret sharing with him, but it was the Flash. It was Ezra Miller's Flash, and he was just in a random diner, and all of a sudden he looked to his left, and he moved with the quickness that you could see the ripples of the floor moving with his feet, and Ezra Miller jumps out of the glass with his finger. You see that in the first trailer. And he goes and saves Iris West. So the actress that was supposed to play Mrs. Clemens, was supposed to play Iris West, she, of course, was cut from the film because that was a part of the film that is factually there, right? And so that VFX I think it was Ascended Accent or Ascended Ancient or something like that. Yeah. They had it, they showed the whole entire thing on top of something for Cyborg. Simultaneously, that same day that this happened, on Vero, I told you, that Snyder is still up there. He's still putting certain things up there. This man puts up Clemens, who's supposed to be Iris West, just puts a picture of her up there and saying this was a talented actress. The same exact day. And that same exact day, of course, Warner Brothers removed that footage. And this has been a rinse and repeat over and over again. It's so many different times that I can't even really count. But every time that it does happen, I'm like, whoa. But I don't know if Jor-Els has it, but there's one storyboarded picture that shows a dream sequence that Cyborg is having when he's trying to split apart the mother boxes or trying to control the power of the mother boxes, that he has a vision of the nightmare sequence that was in Batman versus Superman, which I thought was great. The difference was he also saw Superman, he saw evil Superman, but he also saw at the helm of all of it, Darkseid. And that was legitimately in the storyboard.
Wait.
And like,
saw like a physical.
For that now,
yeah. Like he saw like a physical manifestation. A physical manifestation of Darkseid.
Yes.
Holy
glowing eyes and everything.
What? And the
sad thing about it is, just like this right here, this picture right here, that Zack Snyder decides to today, on the day that Warner Brothers, in my opinion, dropped the ball in proclaiming that we might lose Henry Cavill as Superman, Zack Snyder decides to, on his video page, say it's not an S. This is storyboard from Man of Steel that nobody's ever seen.
Yeah, can you hold that? Can you hold that up?
That's not a story
to the camera real quick. Hold
up.
Can you raise it up a little bit?
Yeah, Zack Snyder. Yeah.
Right
Zack
there.
Snyder legitimately storyboards everything.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect.
Everything he works on, he storyboards.
Okay. Yeah, he just released that today, and he's never released that before ever. What the hell? What the hell is going on? Here's things blowing my mind. This Snyder Cut that I don't care about, never cared about. Like, not only is it like real, but it's just like it almost appears as if it's just in some vault, and they just don't want anybody to see it. Anybody who tries to retrieve footage from it is just getting shut down. This is so insane. I'm like getting nervous kind of talking about it. I feel like Warner Brothers is gonna be like they're gonna have a sniper on me, like a scope on me, waiting for me to post the wrong thing so they can pull my video. I think this is a good segue. We're going to have to remove Sir Samuel for a second here. I think this is a good segue to look into some images. Now, apparently, I guess so. You're saying if I don't show any footage, we should be good to go.
Yeah, if you're just showing like storyboard stuff or concept art, and oh my gosh, the concept art.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your butts, okay? Because me and you are about to have our minds blown. So Sam sent me these images, right? Let's go. God, I gotta be careful here. Oh Lord! All right, give me 1 sec, guys. All right, so let's go big screen here. Oh Lord, help me! I don't get a copyright strike. So, all right. So look at this image right here. I'm just saying this verbally because Sam can't see what we're saying, but and this is my big screen. Good. All right. So this is an image of it's like a behind the scenes shot. I believe in the middle we're seeing Zack Snyder's son. We're seeing Zack Snyder, I guess, looking at a monitor. We see Ray Fisher in the back, football uniform on, helmet on. I guess we're looking at a monitor. Okay, shit! What the hell? So this is what Sam was talking about. Like this, I don't remember this. Apparently, this is was shot for the film. I do remember like when the first Justice League teaser came out officially. I do remember seeing like one shot of like Ray Fisher playing football. I remember after the fact, after seeing the movie, like, oh, that's weird. Like, and there was many shots like this. It's like, oh, that's weird that there's so many kind of missing shots, but whatever. And come to find out, the damn ultimate cut that we can never see. But yeah, look at this. This is real. Here's another picture here. Seems to be another behind the scenes shot with it snowing, and they're get out of here on the football field. Okay, look at this. This is how Steppenwolf, is that his name? Steppenwolf? Is that right? This is how Steppenwolf was supposed to look. First off, it literally kind of bothers me looking at him. So we're about to change the picture here in a second because it kind of looks like a demonic insect. But it's like, why didn't he look like this? Why didn't he look like this? This looks amazing. This is how he was supposed to look in the Sacred Snyder Cut. This is driving me crazy. This picture right here. Now, this picture is... Sam, help me out. I guess this is a... This was a deleted scene from BVS, I believe. So this is how...
Yeah, so...
Yeah, this is the scene with... which, for the record, fucking amazing scene. Hated BVS, but goddamn, the scene was amazing. With Lex Luthor, he's in that pool. And there's this fucking, like, hellish-looking version of Steppenwolf. And it's like, what happened to this version? You know? What the hell's going on? And so here's another concept art. There's these weird like red crosses floating in the air. I believe this is Steppenwolf in the background. Fam, imagine this image being photorealistic, fam. Like, let's click on another one. I think this is Batman like manning some kind of Steppenwolf technology-based gun turret, I guess. I don't know what the hell's going on, but man, if I saw Batman fucking people up with that gun turret, good lord. Or I guess it's some kind of laser gun. Look at this! Why did they change this? This looks like fucking, I don't know. This almost looks like superhero cinema clash with like Lord of the Rings type of imagery. You know, it's very interesting take. This is the Batmobile driving down the street with those. What's those winged demon bastards? What are they, parademons or something?
Oh, parademons.
Yeah, so they're flying around the Batmobile. We got Flash and Wonder Woman leading the charge. I think we can see what we think. That's Cyborg right there. Oh, I guess there's Aquaman right there, right? But yeah, this concept art is fucking gorgeous. Like, look at these kind of mushroom-like buildings. Like, let's keep going. Okay, I can't click over one more time. I got to make a mental note because that's where footage is. But this is the last piece of concept art. I guess this is like Steppenwolf's lair or something. Or maybe, because in the third act of Justice League, they were like in this, fuck, where were they at? They were like in that, you know, they were in that wasteland city, right? So maybe this is how it was originally.
Oh,
but this looks incredible.
So
this looks incredible, you know? Look at that. What happened? All right, let's bring back Sam here. Hold on a second. Because, well, we can't bring it back just yet. But, okay. So, now I'm about to look at some of this footage. I hope there's not sound. So this first footage, which apparently is from the Snyder Cut, is showing, let me see. So it says the Ascended Ancient across the screen, real ugly, but it's Cyborg looking at some kind of hologram.
Yep.
Or he's projecting a hologram through his forehead. Like, you know, like a movie projector, how it projects onto a screen. Well, like, his forehead is emitting some kind of projection. It's showing, like, satellites and buildings. Not really sure what's going on. Is there another one here? There's something here that's like... Whoa. What the fuck was that?
I can describe another one for you.
Yeah, hold on one second.
Let me know.
Oh my god! So there's a video that's showing like Ray Fisher, like he's on the football field, it's snowing, he's like falling to the ground in slow motion. You can see the crowd in the back, and what the fuck? This was just not in the movie. That's so weird. I think music might have been playing. Apologize, but what the fuck? Well, they can't see the footage, so I guess it doesn't matter if you heard something. But yeah, I think that was the last of the footage. But I'm just so blown. Like, oh yeah, there's one other picture here that's like, it's like a behind the scenes shot with Cyborg, and I'm not sure what the fuck's going on, but none of that was in the film. Anyways, we can bring back Sam officially now. Hold on a second. Let's bring his ass back. Okay, so I'm just, my mind is melting here because it's like, well, I guess we gotta move on to the inevitable. You know, like, so we both agree that the Snyder Cut is very real. I think it's a safe assumption that it's not 100% done. And there's okay, so that behind the scenes video that Sam was talking about, I have seen, and there's this rough draft clip from the Snyder Cut that's on the internet. And I've actually seen it. It's what Sam described as, you know, the Flash running out of a restaurant, trying to save Iris West. And, like, it was unbelievable. I was like, why? I've always wanted to see Flash do something like that in live action. The execution of his powers were so exaggerative. It almost felt like fucking, Krillin or something run out of a restaurant, bending the environment around him, It's incredible.
Yeah.
There's also another clip from the Snyder Cut that I've seen where, from the Ascended Ancient whatever, where it showed Cyborg looking like at the sky, I believe, and like there were like all these like rockets and missiles coming towards him, and he just like waved his hand, and these like hundreds of thousands of rockets and missiles up in the sky just like stopped, almost like a Magneto X-Men effect, just like stopped and went slow-mo. I think sort of like when remember in The Matrix Reloaded. Sorry, you fucking youngins. Okay, go check it out. But anyways, with The Matrix Reloaded, there's a scene where Neo gets shot at, and he holds up his hand, and he stops like this whole field of bullets. That's essentially what happened in this clip. But yeah, I gotta say, fuck. Maybe the Snyder Cut was genuinely like would have been like a masterful film, and we're just never gonna get it. Well. That's the main thing. Is the public ever going to see the Snyder Cut? Yeah. We've established that's real. First off, I'm going to say, fuck no. We are never going to get the Snyder Cut. I don't give a fuck if they make 5. I don't care if they make a petition and 3 million people sign it. They're not getting the Snyder Cut because they don't want you to see it, okay? Shit. They don't want you to know. Straight up. And it's mostly just because, in my opinion, Justice League, it just simply failed. In virtually almost all aspects. The film ballooned to a budget of about $300 million. It underperformed at the box office. I think it's the lowest grossing fucking DCEU films, period, which is terrifying. It's fucking Justice League. This should have hit $2 billion, no problem, And this is from www.cbr.com, not my own words, but it is a perfect summary of how I feel about Justice League. Granted, I think that Justice League is a passable movie, arguably good. But they said that the reason why Justice League is hated is because not only did it underperform at the box office, but it was criticized for the screenplay, a weak screenplay, bad pacing issues, bad CGI, as well as a thin plot and the underdeveloped villain, which I 100% agree with. So anybody who's out there like, what are you talking about? Justice League's the best thing in the universe. Well, there's some reasons why I have issues with it. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna say that unfortunately, I just don't think that we're gonna get the Snyder Cut. It sounds fascinating. But unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to place the Snyder Cut next to the, Tim Burton's Superman Lives, Jodorowsky's Dune. I can keep going here, but you get what I'm trying to say. The Andrew Garfield, or like the Tobey Maguire fourth Spider-Man film. It's just those films never happened, and I just don't think we're ever gonna see the Snyder Cut. Thoughts?
So, it's so many different things that I could touch on, but I'm going to try to be very quick and precise.
Sure.
The reality is, people like Ray Fisher, Jason Momoa, dude that's a producer and storyboarder, his name is Jay Olivia. He's literally openly said on Twitter, like, I was the storyboarder of this film. There is absolutely a Snyder Cut, you know what I'm saying? Like, people know that these things are factual information, but people are just assuming that, no, it's conjecture, it's not probable. There is absolutely an assembly cut or vis-a-vis a Snyder Cut. The problem is this. The Snyder Cut or the assembly cut was designed to be a part 1 to a part 2. Not only just what Jor-Els was talking about from a performance standpoint and from an integrity standpoint of what it should have made based on the fan base, but the reality is this film was designed for a part 1 and a part 2. If I don't know if I should even reveal what the ending should have been. The ending of Justice League Part 1 was supposed to be Batman at the end of his ropes, deciding to go and take the fight to Apocalypse himself, going on a suicide mission to try to stop it. Mm-hmm. And the Justice League ultimately do take out Steppenwolf, but Steppenwolf doesn't get taken out by the Parademons. He gets his head lopped off. And Darkseid has a problem with that. There is a picture that I wish I could give you guys and show you guys right now, that you see Henry Cavill, you see the entire cast, and they're looking up, and you don't see anything because it's a green screen, but there's nothing but lights and aura, and you know this was a shot that was made a long time before. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm almost certain they're looking at Doomsday. Like, if you look at Henry Cavill's face, he's looking up and in desperation, kind of like worry.
Sure.
And the reality is, I don't know that we'll ever get to see this film, not just because of its faults and what it didn't do, just with the theatrical cut, but the reality is that how do you service talking about a film that's only a part one, because there's still more to it later. There's still more that never got shot. The part two of Justice League never got actually filmed. And it's like, only people that would practically want to actually engage it are those people that, one, believe that it's actually true. Yep. Those people that are unbelievers that are curious and want to see what could have been. And then the haters that just wanted to smash on it anyway. Sure. And that's not enough to suffice for Warner Bros. To even care, because if they really cared, you know what I'm saying, we wouldn't be having the Superman problem that we're having right now. But there are actors, there are producers, there are even my man, what is the name? Clay Airquarrels, who did the cinematography, and Junkie XL. They explicitly talked about, like, the things that were in Zack's vision were different than what they saw at the end result. And they really have said, I want to be able to see it. There are so many different people out there that you would never know, that not only know that this is something that could be really great to see, but they want to actually see it. But the reality is, are they? Is this going to be another Richard Donner situation? That is something that I believe that me and Jor-El are going to need to take time to actually progressively figure out. Right now, definitively, I don't know how they could do it. Just based on the facts that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, So, you think... Well, just in general, do you think we'll ever see the Snyder Cut?
I think it's very possible, because this is the only reason why. There's only one clear.
I'm stamping a big fat
There's only one clear reason why, and I don't think I've even had this conversation with you because I haven't given you this information. There was a person that I don't want to name the names, went and talked to a legal advisor when it comes to, like, something like the Richard Donner cut, like what they had to go through to actually get that cut released. Is it that if the actual director was on and done with the principal photography of the film, they own a certain amount of rights to the distribution of making their very own director's cut eventually? They could actually do that. But the problem with this is, was the film really truly done before Zack left? If it was, that means that Zack himself actually does have something along the lines of an assembly cut, but it has to also clear with Warner Bros. For him to be able to actually create a direct cut. Because Zack Snyder has his own visual production company. I forgot the name of it. I'm sorry, it escapes my mind right now.
Sure. But
he has his own, like, literally VFX incorporation to be able to produce a film on his own. And the reality is, he could have already finished what was left over. And he could actually have just the assembly cut on his own, but he can't actually move forward with it if it is defined that he did not finish it ahead of time. Because if he didn't, then the ownership just is at Warner Bros. It's like, it's up to them ultimately. But if he did actually finish it, based on what he said, based on what we know, then there's a realm of possibility he can always make it direct, because every director has that right. Every director. Just as long as they actually finish the project, they actually have that right to actually do it. Because of that, there's a slim possibility that we might eventually be able to see it based on distribution.
So when you say finish,
and legal.
When you say finish, you're saying that, okay, so like that clip that I was talking about with the Flash running out of the restaurant. And when you say finish, are you saying that in the Snyder Cut, there's a version where, that's all has like finished VFX or very near finished VFX or something? Is that what you're saying, or are you saying that the Snyder Cut is this, but like that Flash sequence I saw, it would look the same way as I saw it?
So what it would be pre-viz. It would be the outline of what they. So in other words, all the photography is completely done,
right? And
there has been work on the outline silhouette of the film, which that's what an assembly cut actually is.
Gotcha.
An actual non-assembly cut would be something, it doesn't have VFX at all, or there's like places where you just sit there seeing like an open green screen without any actual motion. But an assembly cut, the whole definition behind it is you have a whole film that's completely done, even if the characters look like cartoons or look like clay models. Like it's actually completely done, minus the VFX being completely done. And the other part of that is, I don't know if that contingency also works with the soundtrack, because I know for a fact my man Junkie XL, he didn't have not Danny Elfman. Oh my gosh, what's my boy's name?
Danny Elfman.
Hans Zimmer. He didn't have Hans Zimmer to actually help him this time around, because Hans Zimmer quit before he could even do anything. But Junkie said, "All right, I'll finish it out." And the reality is, Junkie did not finish the soundtrack, but it's been unreleased tracks that have been kind of floating around too. Every single time they get released, Warner Bros. Takes them back. So it goes back to, like I said, if there is an actual outline version of this film that was actually completed, this is something that could be made into a cut of his choosing later, if the director chooses to.
Sure.
But if he wasn't, if it never was actually completely finished, and there are parts that have just kind of been taken out, then it's not. The only reason why I believe that it's possible is because Zack had to take into account, I want to say like 5 months to whittle it down to one movie.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like this Justice League movie is not going to be a part 1 and part 2. It's just Justice League. That's enough time to do that. The time is there. It's just, we'll see. But we're going to go deeper into this later, I think.
Right. Well, I think my part's about almost done here. But, I mean, I think, I don't know. It's difficult to say if, like, the Snyder Cut, it's difficult to say, like, does Zack have, like, all the rights to this bad boy? Could he just, like, 16 weeks from now, could he just be like, hey, I'm trying to put this director's cut out, here we go, type of thing. I have this sinking feeling that I just don't know. Like, on one hand, it feels too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were going to actually release this, wouldn't you have done it, like a while ago, right? Number one. And from that implies that there's issues doing that, releasing the Snyder Cut, giving us this sacred thing, right? I feel like maybe there's some kind of rights issue, or or maybe there's something keeping him from just pleasing the fans and being like, here you go. I mean, I don't know, maybe the studio just, another issue is that it's like, it just seems like too late, I know that the fans of Snyder Cut, this is a sizable audience, but at the same time, we gotta remember, the general public really didn't give a fuck, okay? This movie, was marketed psychotically. Cost $300 million. Everybody knew this damn thing was coming. And as soon as bad word of mouth came, people were just like, nah, I'm gonna skip that, And skipping Justice League? Damn. it almost seems not really worth releasing the Snyder Cut, you know? Which is probably what the studio thinks. Which is why they're going around yanking footage and stuff, you know? So you think that there's a possibility that we might see the Snyder Cut. For the current time, I feel like it's just a big fat negative. And this is almost like the Tim Burton situation. Could Tim Burton still try to make Superman Lives? I mean, probably, but like, I think it's just too late, you know? I guess any final closing thoughts here?
Yeah, I'll finish out. The reality is, when I think back to Tim Burton and Superman Lives,
sure,
is that Tim Burton didn't get the opportunity of actually being able to really fully finish filming Superman Lives. He didn't really get to fully immerse himself and kind of get his hands wet, so to speak. He went through the silhouette of certain things. He went through the dissection and design, but never really got to just get the full committed to that.
Sure.
Zack actually immersed himself in the midst of his worst time of his life to continue to finish the post-production for a film that actually already was done.
Yeah.
This is just him actually finishing up extra stuff, because a lot of people don't know is that the Deathstroke scene was added in after the fact, and Zack was a part of that. So the reality is that for me, I personally feel like it'd be one thing if he didn't do it, if he didn't create it, then I'd be more inclined to, you know, definitely recorrect my perspective on it. But the reality is he did. The reality is he actually did make this.
True.
And I think what is holding all this back is ultimately Warner Brothers. And I do think that there is a legal disconnect. There's a reason why he hasn't been able to sit there and say certain things, and he's been doing the things the way he's been doing them, because I personally don't think they're letting him.
Same.
And I think that the problem is he is still invested in this. Because otherwise, why would he care? Why would he go and pick today when people start ridiculing Superman to show like a piece of history, you know, in a storyboard about a character that, you know, he did in 2013? There's a reason for that. There's a reason why he's on Vero and consistently working with the fans. A lot of people don't know. And I'll say this just to attest to it. There are people like Fiona, Chris Wong, my man, Dave the Film Junkie, that go and dabble with trying to do as much as they can to communicate with this man. But I do even the same. I know for a fact that he's gone back and answered people's questions about Batman vs. Superman, a film that people critically hated.
Yeah.
But yet he chose to spend his time, even though he's not working on any film projects, to answer their certain questions about it. Because the reality is, he even answered one of my questions. He decided, the day before I asked the question I asked, I did a interview with the original Jimmy Olsen when I was at San Diego Comic-Con. I was randomly at this Supergirl panel or whatever, and I actually got to ask him a probing question. I was like, bro, like, I love your craft. I love that you got a moment in Justice League, but the original trailer that I saw you in, you look like a cop, and you look like you were helping, you know, Cyborg out. And he said, absolutely, that's a really clean eye. And I actually quoted him because what he said next truly blew me away. And it really actually caught fire all over the internet, all over the social network, because what he said was, initially, I was a cop. Initially, there was a bigger scene. There was a bigger scene with Superman. There was a lot more different things that happened in that moment. And if you go and you look at one of the most interesting moments in Justice League film, when Superman does get resurrected, you see there are moments where Henry Cavill looks like his face isn't CG. It looks like he's actually okay. It's the back end of that fight where it looks like there's previs put on. There's things that they added on after the fact. So that gives you an indication that Superman very much so was still there, but maybe we actually did have an evil Superman. Maybe I'm not saying he had a black suit or anything like that, but I'm saying that my man that played the original Jimmy Olsen even confirmed that the scene that he was in was completely different than what was in the Justice League movie. And the only reason why, supposedly, he got to be able to be back in is because Jeff Johns liked him enough that, like, okay, well, now in this one, I'm going to make you a security guard, and you'll have a scene with Ezra Miller, but that's all. Like, we can't have any of the footage that we shot with you in that sequence in this film. Why? Why? So that's why I said I'm going to go deeper into this, but there is so much information to adjust to Zack Snyder being held back per something that Warner Brothers, from a legal perspective, in my personal opinion, but that's not to say that he's going to quit, because it doesn't look like he is.
Sure.
And I'm sad that people look at it like he's trolling people, that he's, lashing out, like people like Ray Fisher, that, Ray Fisher had a picture randomly with the woman that was supposed to be his mom, said, like, the Stones, or me and Mrs. Stone, are still here, we're still kicking Borg life, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's still doing that tag and that hash line. People like Joe Olivia that are still saying that Snyder Cut exists. People are calling these people trolls, but the reality is, take in your mind for a second, what if this is actually freaking true? What if this does exist and this is being held back? Why just them?
Yeah. No, I think it's real. I think the evidence is almost overwhelming that the Snyder Cut is real. But I think the evidence is, or the implications that we may never see it, are just as real. I think... unfortunately, I gotta disagree. I just don't think we're ever gonna... I feel like, first off, the more that we move away from 2017, I think the smaller the window gets for us ever seeing the Snyder Cut, first off. Not to mention, when you think about, their silence about the Snyder Cut. Let's say Snyder and stuff. Granted, you could say he's spoken to it, blah, blah, blah. But they're keeping silent about it. And there's got to be a damn good reason for that. The studio don't want y'all to see this damn thing, unfortunately. And unfortunately, they have good reason to not want you to see it. Okay? Justice League failed. It just really did. And I know that upsets people, but for fuck's sake, there's just really no better way of putting it. It failed critically, in my opinion. Wasn't universally praised, for example, which is a huge understatement. Failed financially. Again, in my personal opinion, to be blunt, I just feel like substantially the general audience just didn't care, particularly when the word of mouth came in. Probably once word of mouth came in, to be honest with you. And yeah, I don't think we're going to see it, but Sam thinks that there's a possibility we might see the Snyder Cut. His ass is about to actually go even further down the rabbit hole, because he's going to be doing some kind of documentary or something. I don't know. But I did want to go down the rabbit hole a little bit about this, because it was very intriguing. And I think other people may kind of get their minds blown by this video, or be educated like I was from Sam's insight. He's been doing some investigative journalism over here. So... hopefully this may kind of, bring some kind of peace, or, give something to people who want to see the Snyder Cut. And for people who think, people who are just like, fuck the Snyder Cut, who cares about it? Hopefully maybe those people will think twice about it. But what do you guys think? Do you think we'll ever see the Snyder Cut? Do you think this thing will ever get into the public? Fam? Odds are not looking good, especially if we haven't even heard like a whisper, even an implication that maybe we might see it at this point. Bam. Odds are not looking good. Not to mention we're watching the DCEU collapse in real time. So I'm gonna say a hard pass, but this has definitely been super interesting. I'm glad that we were able to talk about this. And yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I mean, what do you think about the Snyder Cut? Do you think it's real? Do you think it'll ever see the light of day ever? I guess let us know. I guess anything else before we jet out of here?
Yeah, I actually do, and I didn't even think about it. I know this is last minute, but the It movie. When did the It movie come out? Was that 2017?
Yes. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so the It movie came out September 8th, 2017. Justice League came out November 2017, something like that.
Yeah, November. Yeah.
Okay, so this is more of a Warner Brothers thing. I just don't know how to translate it, but I'm going to talk more in depth with that with mine's,
Sure.
with my documentary.
Yeah.
The It movie has already been clearly defined that it has a director's cut that the director himself actually said that they're going to be releasing out later. But for whatever reason, there's not been one word, no mention, no release date, nothing. There's been nothing. But it's already been confirmed, like back in 2017, that there's a director's cut for It movie. But we haven't heard anything about it. And now at this point, we might not hear anything until the second movie comes out in 2019. And so that director's cut will not be coming out until probably 2019, which is 2 years after the fact, right?
Sure.
The same thing could easily be said for Justice League, which is weird, though. It's so weird because with Watchmen, I feel like that was a year as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the director's cut for Watchmen, we didn't get that until a year or 2 years later, right?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't think it was something like 2 years later. I definitely don't think that. I feel like
it was maybe a year.
Just off the top of my head, instinct, I would say definitely not 2 years. I don't think so. That seems kind of weird. Now that Ultimate Cut, that's a great question. I don't know when the hell that bad boy came. That seemed like it came much later, but
yeah, this is a reason why I bring that up. There's a trend with Warner Brothers when it comes to these director's cuts. I think even with the only one that I saw that had the quickest turnaround was I Am Legend. I'm not even sure if that was under Warner Brothers. I believe it was. But I Am Legend had this alternative cut that had a very superior ending, in my personal opinion, than the actual theatrical cut. That was kind of like a year turnaround. Back when movies took a long time to translate over to Blu-ray and DVD. But all I'm bringing up and saying is that if they're doing this for It, which was way better film, almost a masterpiece, and I can't wait for the second chapter. But yet they decide to not even mention, like a director's cut, even now. Which if they said to me right now, bruh, I would be on Best Buy immediately. Pre-order that joint. Even if it came out next year, I would be immediately on top of it and buy it.
I mean,
but they're just kind of waiting on it. So I bring up that just to say that Warner Brothers has this trend when it comes to their director's cut. But I'll go into some more detail about that.
No, I totally see. I see where you're going there with that. I guess the only thing I can say for that is, like, let's say let's pick It for example. Well, the issue there is that everybody loved it. It made a lot of money. I'm not sure how much money, but it made a lot of money. Everybody loved it. I mean, borderline. I don't think it's crazy to say that it had like universal praise. I mean, it did very well critically. I'm not exactly sure how it did box office wise, but I remember it doing pretty damn. I remember it doing pretty damn good box office wise. So that's sort of a weird situation because like people really loved it, So if there's sort of a delay with the director's cut, it's sort of fine because people even with Watchmen, I'm not sure how much it made box office wise, but I mean, I thought that the reviews were quite fair for Watchmen. I could be wrong. I don't necessarily recall like a Watchmen sitting at like a 50% say on Rotten Tomatoes. Could be totally wrong. It's been a long time since I visited Watchmen, but people really liked Watchmen, and it did rather well critically, I thought, So it wasn't really a big surprise that there was like a director's cut, or even that psychotic, ultimate cut that's like 200 minutes. But I don't know. I just think just the odds just don't look good in any sense of the word. You know what I mean? Man, they just don't look good. But anyways, before we get into a state of running into tangents and rants, yeah, I don't think I have anything particularly else to add, but this has definitely been a great conversation. I'm super serious to see how people react to this, because it's going to be very interesting to see your guys' reactions. I look forward to the sweaty debates, but I think that's about all I got. I hope I'm wrong, though. I hope we do see this sacred, mythical thing one day, but oof, I doubt it. Hope I'm wrong, though. I really do, genuinely. But other than that, yeah, definitely make sure to smash that like button, guys. Make sure to subscribe as well if you're on your phone. Make sure to hit the bell notification so you don't miss anything. And I'll have his information down below, and please do the same to him as well. Other than that, that's all I've got. Anything else before we jet out?
Must there be a Snyder Cut? That's all I got.
You know what this reminds me of? This totally reminds me of like the coffin, the dirt on it, and then it rose. It's like it's the dirt gonna rise, right, for the Snyder Cut. We'll see. Anyways, we're out, people.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed. Later, y'all.
Pieces. Bye, niggas. Oh, boy.